terms of clearing the Bruce Trail, we're looking for a trail that's cleared to about 1.5 meters in width. That's about as wide as my outstretched arms. So you can see in this situation we have a tree with branches encroaching into that zone. Also on the other side, a small tree growing at the edge of the trail. So we have some decisions to make here. Looking at this one first, we have a choice of either pruning the branches or removing the tree altogether. Since we're in an open area where we have natural regeneration of young trees like this, I'm inclined to leave this tree here. So we'll be doing some pruning of these branches. When we're pruning a tree such as this, we want to make the pruning cut here at the face of the trunk, not out here on the branch. We leave just a little bit of the collar around the base of the branch so that it'll recover quickly and seal off that wound. On this side, we've got 2 or 3 small trees, all growing in a very small area. So I think I'll probably remove 1 or 2 of them altogether. Now this small tree, which is growing at the edge of the trail, and right next to a larger one, we're going to remove it completely. When we do that, we go right down to ground level and cut it off flush with the ground. Then take that and throw it well away from the trail. We also have some wild raspberry canes here. We're going to get rid of those too. Now, of course, when we're finished our pruning, we pick up all the branches that have been cut off and throw them well away from the trail. And now you see a finished product, a nice, clear trail which is 1.5 meters in width. Now, looking at the trail in terms of clearing back grasses and weeds, you can see a section of trail here where the treadway has been mowed very satisfactorily, but we still, at the end of the summer, get the tall goldenrod type weeds growing up tall and leaning into the trail. And it's necessary to clear those back as well, such as this one here. So with our weed slasher, we can clear back this stuff so that it doesn't lean into the trail and get in hiker's way or obscure the path of the trail. The height of the trail should be about 2.5 meters, which is basically about as high as I can reach with these long-handled pruning shears. So here we have a few examples of branches that are intruding into that zone. I want to cut those back to the face of the tree trunk or to a junction of another branch. When you're pruning in a forest, particularly a younger forest, we should try to maintain a canopy over top of the trail so that we don't let too much light into the trail. That way, the undergrowth won't grow up too vigorously. The 1.5 meter width rule for the trail has to be applied with a little bit of discretion. For instance, here we have 2 trees on either side of the trail that are within that zone, but both of them are fairly significant in the forest canopy. So in this case, we would probably leave them here. We don't want to cut out big trees that play a really important role in the forest canopy. When we want to cut a small tree or sapling that's intruding into the trail and it's a bit too big for the pruning shears, then we'll use the bow saw on this one. Once the tree has been cut, then we drag it well back into the bush so it's not visible from the trail. Here's an example of a tree branch that should be cut, and it's going to be a job for the bow saw. It is above my head now, but it probably should be cut anyway because it will droop further down, especially when it gets a snow load on it. In order to make this cut properly for the health of the tree, we should actually do 3 cuts. One on the bottom here, then one on top above it, and finally one back here. That's enough there. If we don't do the cuts in this order, then there's a good chance that the falling branch will peel the bark down the trunk of the tree, which is not good for the tree. Now you can see why we did the 3 cuts on this branch. If we hadn't done that, we probably would have ended up with the weight of the branch pulling down all this bark below the cut. But as we've done it now, we have a nice, clean, flush cut. Now here we have a fairly large tree fallen across the trail. If this were only about 8 inches tall or a little less, then a hiker could step right over it and we wouldn't even need to bother cutting it. But a tree of this size is going to have to be cut out. Now we might try first of all to make just 1 cut about here and then swing the tree off to the side of the trail. But in this case, the tree is so large, I think that probably won't be possible. So I'm going to make 2 cuts, 1 here and 1 there, so that we have a 60 centimeter or 2-foot width available for hikers to walk through. Go that way. And there, now we have a gap wide enough for the hiker to walk through.